Hello again. You might think that refugees and other immigrants to this country might just be a little bit grateful if they turn up penniless and are then offered a four-bedroomed house to live in for nothing. Especially when the house is in the beautiful town of Penrith in the Lake District. Not a bit of it. The owner of a large house in Penrith was disturbed at images of Afghan refugees fleeing Kabul in September and so offered the house to the Home Office to house refugees. So far so good. 6 months later it is still empty and he's going to sell it because he can't afford to have it standing empty forever. The Home Office says that despite being offered to a number of families, the offer of accommodation sadly could not be taken forward. We all know why this is, and it is a scandal. The Afghan refugees who are currently living in hotels and costing taxpayers like me over £5 million a day do not want to live among English people. They are furiously resisting offers of homes anywhere other than London because this is where most Afghans live. In short, they wish to live in a ghetto of their fellow countrymen rather than integrating by moving to somewhere where they would have to meet and have dealings with English people. So they turn down a four-bedroomed house in order that they can carry on living in hotels at my expense. It really is unbelievable. Remember hearing about how many of them had large families and needed four-bedroom houses to accommodate all their relatives? Yes, but not unless these large properties are in London. Here's the article about this from today's paper. It talks about the incompetent Home Office, but that's nothing to the purpose at all. The Home Office have offered the house to Afghans and it's been turned down a number of times because they don't want to live in an English area. I have nothing but sympathy for the family of Sabina Nessa, who was murdered by a mad Albanian who has recently been sent to prison for at least 36 years. However, I must take leave to argue with her sister's claim that the government haven't done anything for the family and that not as much attention was paid to the woman's death as to that of Sarah Everard. This is utterly grotesque. Here is what the sister, Jabina Islam, told reporters. My sister didn't get as much headlines, I feel, at the start. Maybe it was down to her ethnicity. She didn't get the front pages on some of the papers, and in Sarah Everard's case, she did. I think it's just down to our ethnicity, to be honest, and I feel like if we were a normal British white family, we would have been treated equally. Miss Islam also said that her family had received no support from the government. I beg to differ here. The support received was that our taxes pay for the Home Office and police forces, and the man who murdered Sabina Nessa, who wasn't even British, was tracked down and caught, then brought to trial and sent to prison. Surely that's doing something. What does this woman think the government do generally for families who have had a member murdered? Is she after compensation or something? Here we have a family of immigrants who have been allowed to live in Britain. They obviously don't want to adapt to our way of life. In the thumbnail I give a picture of Jabina Islam, who is dressed like somebody from Pakistan rather than England. This is a case of one foreign immigrant killing another, and our police have dealt with the case efficiently. I honestly can't see what ethnicity has to do with this, and I'm getting a little ticked off with people coming to live in Britain and not being the slightest bit grateful or even showing any desire to fit in with our way of life. I give a link to a BBC News item in which Miss Islam gives her views on the matter in the description to this video. The Sarah Everard case attracted a lot of attention not because she was white and Sabina Nessa wasn't, but because of course Sarah Everard was murdered by a police officer, and it wasn't until this became common knowledge that all the attention was paid to her.